Is this real life, bro? What in the world did I just witness? If you thought that the momentum was gonna slow down, going from trios to duos, oh, were you so wrong. In the first Duo Div Cup finals of the season, we got arguably one of the most entertaining tournaments that I have seen in a very long time. And as a lot of these Cash Cups seem to do as of late, it came down to the very final game. We have a bunch to talk about in today's video, including crazy 1v2s, insane crash outs, and so much more. Real quick before this video starts though, please subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we are currently on the road to 120,000 subscribers, and I truly do love and appreciate every single person that subs up to the channel. If you guys want to support me even more, Epic Games is currently doing this really cool thing where they double your creator earnings on supported creators. So if you want to support anybody, please use code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop. Make sure you guys follow me on my Twitch or come back here on the day of finals if you guys want to watch the finals of any of these tournaments with me. I don't want to waste any more time though. Let's get this video started with the duo that was able to win the whole thing. Finishing on 329 points was none other than Peterbot and Poyo. Now, of course, we're going to discuss this team in great detail in a little bit, but let's first start off by saying that they were able to win 1 out of their 6 matches, finished with the most elims in this tournament, of course, with 30 total elims. Their match history was a 9 elimination 3rd, 5 elimination 10th, 0 elimination 25th, 6 elimination 12th, 8 elimination win, and a 2 elimination 11th. Now, on paper, you might even be saying yourself, this did not look like the craziest, super dominant Peterbot and Poyo performance that maybe a lot of us were expecting, and I completely agree with that. This, honestly, if you watch them play today, it looked like they were having an off day and they were still somehow able to win the Cash Cup. Like, after their first 2 games, I was like, okay, it's nothing really too crazy yet, but we're definitely bound for a just insane like 15 elimination win out of them. And then in the 3rd game where they got a 0 elimination 25th, I was like, oh my goodness, is this team not even gonna win the first tournament of the season? And then in game number 4, I think this was the real turning point for this duo. They were keying in the mid game, Poyo ended up dying, and then Peter was left alone as a solo. He had to run away, he had no mats, nothing like that. And then at the time, Clix's team, who we'll talk about in a little bit, I think was hovering around that top 3 mark. They noticed that Peter was a solo because he had the coin, they could see him on the map, and Higgs actually ended up making the call to key Peterbot in the storm because they believed that if they're able to take Peterbot out in game number 4, their tournament would probably be completely over. There's no way that Peter and Poyo would have been able to somehow win the Cash Cup and come back from that. And I just want to put this scene in your head right here. Clix and Higgs were basically max mats 100 going into the storm with extra chug splashes, everything like that, compared to Peterbot, who was a solo, was almost on dead 0 mats, and this is what ended up happening.
Yes.
No mats.
You're so shit! You're so shit! Get the f out! Get the f out! Oh my f god!
The best. Oh wait, wow, we suck.
33.
170, bro.
Are you just crazy fat? Talking?
Now, you guys know I'll always say that you can never count out Peter and you can never doubt him. In this fight right here, I had some real doubts. I almost thought it was impossible that he was going to win a 1v2, especially against a duo that is as good of fighting of Clix and Higgs. But of course, when there is a will, there is a way, and he was able to find that and somehow 1v2 and completely shift the momentum for that duo. You could see how hype he was right there, and that was the real turning point for not only Peter and Poyo, but also for Clix and Higgs. I feel like the vibes were just absolutely shot after that happened. And we'll talk more about them later, but that wasn't even it for this Peterbot and Poyo Cash Cup win. Going into the very final game of the day, they were around 15 points behind Rapid and Threats, who were in first place. Peterbot, with literally 20,000 viewers, decides to end his stream because he cares more about winning the Cash Cup than the extra money that he was gonna get from his stream. And in classic Peterbot fashion, we see them running around the map trying to find Rapid and Threats. And while they were not able to find Rapid and Threats, Poyo unfortunately ended up going down right before the half and half zone started, leaving Peterbot as a solo, and then just shortly after that, Rapid and Threats ended up dying out of the sky on that same zone that Poyo died out of the sky. So it all came down to Peterbot, who needed around 20 points as a solo with only about 200 mats, 40 people alive still, and of course, the greatest solo clutch player in the history of this game was able to get a 2 elimination 11th to win the Cash Cup by 5 points. Just what a cinematic tournament all around for Peterbot and Poyo. And as I was saying in the intro, I don't even feel like this was close to them playing at their best. There's clearly a lot of things that these guys still need to improve on. I didn't love a lot of the rotations that Peter was making. It seems like they were running out of mats super fast. But for them to still find a way to win, it's just why so many people think that they legit might win every single FNCS next year. I want to make sure I give credit to the duo in second place though of Rapid and Threats, because they put up such a valiant effort in their first set lobby finals together as a duo, finished with 324 points, and then tied for the second most elims as well, getting 28 total elims. Their match history was a 6 elimination 4th, 4 elimination 3rd, 3 elimination 6th, 3 elimination 16th, 10 elimination 3rd, and a 2 elimination 27th. Rapid to me is continuing to show why he's one of the most just underrated IGLs in the entire game right now, and just such a great performance from them to almost be able to take down Peterbot and Poyo in the first duo diff cup of the season. Even though they got second place, I don't think they should be hanging their heads on this at all. This just has to give them so much motivation going into the future. And speaking of people that are going to get a lot of motivation, third place of Acorn and Bolts on 313 points won the final game of the day, getting an 11 elimination win. And this duo was also contested every single game off spawn versus Booga and Craze. They didn't lose a single off spawn fight. They beat them 3-0 off spawn, and then they split the other 3 games. And Acorn let them have it on Twitter as well. Acorn said he's going to 0 ping next week. So Acorn literally finished top 3 in the Cash Cup while being contested, while I'm pretty sure on like 50 ping as well. And then he also said 48th place of $0, and Booga and Craze almost finished in legit dead last today. Just quickly talking about Booga and Craze, I would not be surprised at all if this duo ends up splitting after this performance right here. Not being able to beat Acorn, who's on high ping, and then almost finishing in dead last as well. It's just not how you want to be starting your duo tournaments off. Going back to Acorn and Bolts though, this definitely was a major prove it performance from them, finishing top 3 in this Cash Cup, tied for the second most elims, and only being 17 points away from winning the whole thing. This was super impressive out of them. I think they have kind of just shut down all of the potential splitting narratives that people have been saying, and I 100% think they are still going to be sticking together now after this. Fourth place though, another duo that is probably going to be sticking together. I feel like this was a super quiet fourth place out of Agers and Niamzo. They finished with 260 points, didn't win any games, and also, believe it or not, had the least amount of elims in the entire top 10, only getting 13 elims while being fully uncontested every single game at Demons to Breeze. Their match history was a 0 elimination 12th, 4 elimination 12th, 1 elimination 12th, 5 elimination 8th, 1 elimination 2nd, and a 2 elimination 10th. Struggling to get elims is not what I expected out of this team at all. I really did think that this duo would be like top 3 for total elims after the Cash Cup, but I'm pretty sure we had multiple individual players that we'll go over later that had more elims by themselves than Agers and Niamzo did combined. I guess some bright spots for them though is they were the most consistent team of the entire tournament, getting an average placement of 9.33, and especially in a meta with no crash pads, being consistent is so difficult. I don't think that these guys are going to split up just because the only other people I could potentially see them playing with all did better than them, but this team also has some very clear things that they need to work out. Fifth place was G-Money and Rise on 256. Sixth place was Taki and Ver, and then in 7th place, somehow, some way, Clix and Higgs fell down to 7th place. And if you're wondering what do I mean by they fell down to 7th place, their first 2 games of this tournament, their first 2 games ever as a duo in a set lobby finals of the Div Cup, won both of the games with 4 elims and 5 elims. And then they got a 3 elimination 10th in their third game. And then like I was saying earlier, in game number 4, the game that they pushed Peterbot and ended up getting 1v2'd, they got a 0 elimination 37th. Then their next 2 games after that were a 2 elimination 29th and a 2 elimination 20th. There's just some mental block that always happens when Peterbot ends up W keying them. I don't even know how you could reset the vibes after getting 1v2'd like that, especially when Peter is streaming and just full crashing out and trash talking you. They really did start off this tournament looking so good. They were so confident. Clix was complimenting Higgs's IGLing because they were able to play high ground, which is what we never really got to see out of Clix, Yamzo, and Higgs. And then Peterbot, as he just always seems to do, gets in Clix's head, and then after that they just can't recover, and it led to them falling from first place after the first 3 games in the Cash Cup all the way down to 7th place. I still think that Clix and Higgs are a really solid duo with a lot of potential, but they clearly have vibe issues when things go wrong, and hopefully they're able to fix that going into the future now. 8th place was Blake and Zen. This duo also, believe it or not, had a real potential to win this Cash Cup. Their first 4 games were a 3 elimination 9th, 4 elimination 9th, 6 elimination win, and a 2 elimination 11th, in which they ended up winning off spawn 4-0 versus Oliver OG. And then with them being top 3 going into game number 5 and game number 6, they died off spawn both of those games and finished in 8th place. I still do think though that this was a very good performance out of them. Hopefully they're able to be uncon in the future to see their max potential. 9th place was Kanata and Cooper on 222. This is not going to be an official duo going into the future. Kanata of course is going to be playing with Arc, and then Cooper is playing with Sphinx. And then rounding off the top 10 was Noxy and Mason on 222. For how our other big names did, we have like 11th place of Visuals and Braids, 12th place of Shadow and Tyler, Ritual and Cold in 18th place. They were contested every single game off spawn. I'm pretty sure they ended up winning like 3-2 off spawn versus Epic Whale's team. Their match history was definitely not necessarily anything to be impressed with. They got a 1 elimination 39th, 2 elimination 20th, 5 elimination 17th, 0 elimination 46th, 5 elimination 8th, and a 5 elimination 26th. So they did still finish with 18 total elims, but there was unfortunately a pretty big negative for them, and they got 2v1'd by Epic Whale in one of their mid-game off spawn fights.
No way. No. Wait. No way. No. No.
I already see people begging Cold to play with somebody else, and they say like, oh, Ritual is so terrible. This right now is just all Ritual and Cold trying to alpha up a drop spot. Epic Whale and Pump though didn't even necessarily finish that far behind them in 22nd place, and they literally won a game with a 10 elimination win in one of the matches that they were able to win off spawn. So I hope that this off spawn fight doesn't linger on too much throughout the season, because I think these both are duos that have super high potential. But yeah, I think Epic Whale and Pump still had a very solid performance for only winning 2 games off spawn. We had a Reet and Curve in 28th, and then like I said earlier, Booga and Craze in 48th, and Victor V and Paper in 49th. Let's move on to the final statistics here now. After the first NA finals, the highest damage ratio was Taki with a 2.30. We see Peterbot right behind him though, second place with a 2.26. The most damage to players was of course led by Peterbot with 7,142. We had Threats right behind him, Agers, Bolts in 4th, Clix in 5th, Mason, Shadow, Cold, Acorn, and then Taki. And then the most elims, we actually had Bolts leading the whole thing with 19 total elims. Peterbot just 1 elim behind him though with 18, Threats in 3rd with 15, Vert in 4th, Rapid in 5th, Rise in 6th, Cold in 7th place. I know their placement wasn't necessarily the best today, but still being top 7 in elims is just absolutely nuts. Noxy in 8th, and then Poyo in 9th. So Poyo also wasn't getting like backpack today or nothing like that. For how good Peter played, Poyo only finished with 6 less elims than him, and then Kanata rounded out the top 10 with 11. The most assists was Rapid and Peterbot tied with 32, and then here is all of the other stats as well if you care about them. NA though was absolute cinema today. Let's actually move on to how EU went now. Now in EU, this was a really weird finals. We got to see the effects of no crash pads that they had on these duos' consistency, because there really wasn't anybody on EU that was that consistent at all. But the team that did end up pulling off the win in the first EU Duo Div Cup finals was none other than Chino and Ferdoxy. They finished with 312 points. We're not able to win any games, but as this team so often did in trios, they're able to translate their fragging ability into duos now as well, and they finished with the most elims in this entire tournament, getting 34 total elims. They really only had 3 good games, but that was enough to secure them the win. They got an 8 elimination 3rd, 2 elimination 31st, 2 elimination 26th, 5 elimination 16th, 8 elimination 2nd, and then a 9 elimination 4th in the very final game where they were less than like 30 points behind Cammy and Hari, I'm pretty sure. And in the last game, they were pulling off their classic Peterbot play where they were just searching all over the map for Cammy and Hari. They were doing the win or nothing play, and it ended up working out for them. They didn't find Cammy and Hari, but they found a lot of other elims around the map. And this is just such a good fighting team in general. I don't know why people thought that Ferdoxy's playstyle wouldn't be able to translate to duos. Ferdoxy to me definitely has one of the most unique playstyles in all of Fortnite, with like the lurk plays and the rare aggression that he shows on EU especially. But it seems like almost the lurk plays worked even better in duos than they did in trios. And this team is already making a case to potentially be the best duo in all of EU right now. Second place though, I was just talking about them. It is Hari and Cammy on 276. They didn't win any games, but they were the most consistent team of the day, getting an average placement of 9.8 and finishing with 18 total elims as well. So not super fraggy out of them, but that's basically probably what we could have expected. Their best games was a 1 elimination 7th, 6 elimination 2nd, and a 4 elimination 5th. I feel like it's going to be really difficult for this duo to be able to win tournaments in the future just because of what we saw today. So many people now, especially the better duos on the region, are such just aggressive teams. It's going to be very difficult for them if they have a lead going into the last game to hold that lead because they know they're just going to get W keyed and they're already not the best fighting team in general. But still, I definitely do think that this could be a potential top 5 duo in all of EU right now, and they were able to finish in 2nd place after the first Div Cup finals of the season. 3rd place, probably one of the more surprising duos that we had here, and they absolutely saved their tournament in their very final game. It is Friss and Teeny. Now, we knew how crazy Teeny was last year when duos were a thing, getting multiple 2nd places in duo finals, top 10ing at LAN with Chap, and now he is playing with Friss, who just finished his kind of like come up year playing with Tayson and everything like that. And they were able to finish in 3rd place today, getting 255 points, winning 1 out of their 6 matches, and their best games of the day were a 7 elimination 6th and then an 11 elimination win in the very final game. I think they legit jumped from like 15th place all the way into the top 3 just after their final game. So you really can tell how many of these duos were just not consistent at all today. 4th place is probably our highest placing duo that is not going to be a duo by next week of Vidil and Focus. They finished on 242 points, didn't win any games, but did also get 22 total elims. It seems like as of right now, Vidil and Rezon are still pretty locked into each other. They literally haven't even played a tournament yet. I don't think they're going to already split up after this 4th place right here. The player that is just such a wild card right now though is Focus. There has been so many different rumors on who we could potentially play with. We saw Vidil say on his stream today that Focus could be playing with Thomas HD in the future. Of course, he just played the Eval Cup with Mr. Savage a couple of days ago. And then him himself in one of his tweets even said he's down to go to NA to move to Zero Ping to play with somebody. And so Focus really is just such an unknown right now. But for a duo that has literally no chemistry, I don't think, them finishing top 4 together is super impressive. Just goes to show the talent level of both of those players. 5th place was Sky and Scroll on 237. They started off this tournament very good, but then really struggled in their very final 2 games, which led to them finishing in 5th place. Still though, I think the chemistry on this team is there. They're always going to be a sneaky top 5 potential duo. Speaking of teams that started off super strong, Chap and Flixie in 6th place started off this tournament with a 12 elimination win and a 3 elimination 8th, and then in the very final 3 games, they couldn't even buy a single game where they placed inside of the top 15. We saw Flixie tweet out, "Freest win I full sold, winning the next one." I don't really think I have lost any of my confidence in Chap and Flixie. In the first couple of games, they looked like they could have been like the best duo on EU without question. I really just don't know what happened to them. I mean, Flixie himself even just said that they sold. They got 21 total elims in basically only 3 games, so I think the fragging potential is still there as well. I'm not necessarily too worried about them at all. 7th place was our definition of no elims in this tournament. Trulex and Chicho, our former LAN GOATs, getting back-to-back 3rd places at global championships, finished with 208 points. But the most important part about this entire performance from them is they only finished with 5 elims in 6 total matches. This duo had the same amount of games where they finished with 0 elims compared to them finishing with 1, and their highest elim game of the day was a 3 elimination 3rd. So it looks like the elims are never going to be there for Trulex and Chicho, but the consistency still looks very solid for them, and I'm very interested to see what their stat lines are going to be looking like in the future. 8th place was Walks and Pixie on 204. Definitely expected a top 5 out of them. They showed flashes, getting like a 6 elimination 3rd and an 8 elimination 7th, but for a duo that has this much talent on it, and while being fully uncontested, I definitely did expect more out of them. 9th place was Akira and Skyjump, and then rounding out the top 10 was Momsy and Sato on 201. So yeah, as you guys could have guessed, we had a lot of big names outside of the top 10, like 15th place of Queasy and Vino, probably one of the main talking points from this entire EU Div Cup. They finished with only 184 points and 15 total elims. There is a couple of different things that I want to talk about with this duo, and obviously the main thing that everybody is saying right now is, oh, these guys need to split, they can't work anymore, this duo is just not what it used to be. And I kind of see some of their points there, but at the same time, I want to kind of make some analysis from what I actually saw from watching them today. It really does seem like Vino still wants to be able to lead in the end games, especially. I saw him taking over tarping at times, and also just wanting to like make more aggro plays in the mid game, but fighting power is just not necessarily ever going to be a crazy strength of a team that has Queasy on it now, unfortunately. I really just don't know if this duo's playstyle necessarily works that well together in 2025. Like Queasy in duos especially, I feel like needs a player that's just gonna want to like sit in a surge base, play end game, play high ground, while Vino is still very much in the same mindset that he was in trios when he was playing with Vico and Flixie. The things such as like W King in the mid games, looking for elims, and just playing a lot more aggressive, and it's just very hard to do that when he's playing with Queasy. Do I think either one of these guys are like washed bad players now? No, obviously not, and this is definitely something that they can work out. One of them definitely would need to fully adapt to the other one's playstyle though, and it would probably have to be Vino adapting to Queasy's playstyle, which I think 100% is possible. It really just depends on if Vino wants to do that or not. I already see everybody on Twitter making up new duos for these guys, but I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. 18th place was Pix and Demus on 160. 19th place was Swizzy and Vanya on 156. Now you might be saying, what in the world, isn't this such a disappointing performance from Swizzy and Vanya? And I mean, I guess you could kind of say that at the end of the day, but at the same time, they were still contested every single game versus Tayson and Murstache. And if you're wondering how that off spawn fight went, it ended up getting won 3-2 in favor of Swizzy and Vanya over Tayson's team, and then they did split it one time, so it was technically 3-2-1. In the games that Swizzy and Vanya were able to make it off spawn, they got a 4 elimination 6th, 3 elimination 7th, and a 3 elimination 11th. So I still think they made a decent amount out of what they were given. 25th place, the team that was contesting them though, was Murstache and Tayson, and in the 2 games that they were able to make it off spawn, they won one of them, getting a 6 elimination win, and then they got a 4 elimination 21st in the other one. Also really not too sure what the future of this duo is going to be. I mean, they literally won one of the games that they were able to make it off spawn today, but we know Murstache is still pretty open into looking for other duo options as well, and I wonder if this performance right here is going to be enough to make them want to split. I still personally do think that they have very good potential. We just have to see them when they're uncon. 26th place, basically another team that you could say the same thing for, is Pablo and Marius. I feel like their situation is a little bit different though, because they actually ended up beating Shark and Combeck off spawn 4-1 in this tournament, and still only got 96 points in those 4 games they were able to win off spawn. Malibuka and Panzer finished in 30th while being completely uncontested. Also only got 7 total elims for these guys. So maybe the fragging power is not as much as what we thought it could potentially be for them. I don't think they're gonna split though, and I'm excited to see if they can bounce back next week. And then we had like Combeck and Shark in 47th place. Moving on to the final statistics here. Unfortunately, the Assyrian website is just not fully updated, as it seems to be a lot of the times. So I'll show the entire top 10 for the damage right here. You see Sato led the whole thing with 5,967 damage and a 2.40 damage ratio. Super impressive out of him. And then here is all of these stat leaders as well. The most elims was Chino, which is pretty expected, figuring that they finished with the most elims as a duo in general. The most assists was Ferdoxy and Hari, both of them finishing with 28 total assists. And then damage per minute was Murstache, and then here is all the other stats as well. Other than that though, remember, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we try our best to upload daily competitive content for you guys. If you guys want to support me even more, the best way to do so is by using code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop. Remember, creator earnings are doubled this weekend, so if you want to support anybody during that time, please just use code KDOG. Make sure you guys follow me on my Twitch or come back here on the day of any of these set lobby finals if you guys want to watch NA with me. Appreciate everybody that stopped by today. Thank God for another day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.